Ajit Pai is the most loathsome person on the internet, and that is for reasons beyond his stupid face and his large coffee cup and his complete lack of a sense of humor. He is working actively in the disinterest of Americans and for large telecom corporations. And we've talked before about Title II net neutrality restrictions and his gutless assertions that these major corporations will do what's right for people and not just gouge us and slow lane us and change the way the free internet works entirely by making it much more corporatist. We've talked about this a little bit before, but there is a system in place called the Lifeline program, and what it does is help give low-income Americans a small subsidy for communication service. Before, when it first started, it didn't include internet, broadband at all, but since that has become much more of a necessity in life in order to not just connect with family and friends, but to be able to do work, find work, pay bills, to cover essential services, you would be surprised to know the Lifeline subsidy program only gives a monthly subsidy of $9.25. Think about how much you pay for internet and your mobile bill and wonder if $9.25 is a significant corrupt bent, because Ajit Pai has classified this program as being hopelessly corrupt, and so are the people who would benefit from it ostensibly. But I really don't think that is the case. He has worked effectively to not only reduce the supply, but the demand for this as well. I've previously covered his efforts to reclassify what broadband means in order to say, oh, there's parts of the country that we have so much broadband coverage, where in fact we really don't. His idea was to make broadband, or to categorize LTE mobile service as broadband. Now I want you to think about what you use high-speed internet for. Gaming, streaming movies, television, video chatting. Can that be done effectively and cheaply with just your cell phone? And the answer to that is of course no. But this is just a blanket plan in order to make it seem like we don't need to improve or innovate at all, and the way things are going are just fine, and we don't need to put any more of an investment in this or reach out to people who are in rural locations or perhaps low-income areas. And that's a shame. Another way he is working to take broadband away from lower income people is to not only make the system, the Lifeline system, harder to get into, but harder to be served by. So previously, Tom Wheeler, who is the past FCC chairman, had wanted to expand the number of broadband companies that would be able to serve people. And this was great, because isn't more competition good? Isn't that what you want if you're into small government? Not the case. Ajit Pai has decided that he wanted to close that down and make it only available to the companies that have their own facilities, like the infrastructure, the wires, the towers, everything that makes up a network. And the problem here is 75% of Lifeline customers get their services from businesses that resell the capacity of companies like Sprint or T-Mobile. Like, you may know what this is when smaller companies don't necessarily own these networks, but are parts of them, and therefore offer their own separate pricing away from the owners of them. So in Ajit Pai's world, that shouldn't be there. And that 75% of people who are getting their service there, they can't get it anymore. They're gonna have to change it, get a different price, probably not a better price, and go through a lot of loopholes and hassle in order to get this through. There are also his proposals to place a hard cap on the Lifeline budget and reconsider the $2.25 billion budget that was passed in 2016. What this looks like is essentially lowering the budget, and also lowering the amount of carriers that would do this, which is shrinking it possibly year by year as his reign continues as head of the FCC, until there's little to no budget for the Lifeline program at all, and it's extremely hard to get into. And this is insane, especially for someone who's working so clearly in the interest of large telecoms and their bottom line and their pockets. This is a position that's supposed to be looking out for greater accessibility, greater communications for the American people, and is doing the precise opposite of that. It's a disgrace. What he is doing in almost every single one of his ventures as FCC chairman is a disgrace. It's not for the people. It's absolutely for the telecom corporations. And this is just another piece of the pie that is Ajit Pai. Audience, do you use the Lifeline program, and what do you think of what you've seen so far and what is proposed to come? Please let me know on Facebook and Twitter.